Hello everyone, I am Dr. Suchita Nimbalka from St. Vincent Pallotti College of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur. Today we are going to discuss about hardness of water. Now, how we can define hardness? Soap consuming capacity of water is nothing but the hardness. If we react soap solution with water and if it gives us immediate lather formation or the foam formation, that type of water is known as soft water. But if during reaction it take time for the lather formation, that is the hard water. Means the another definition we can say that the property of water which prevent lather formation or lathering of soap is called hardness of water. Now there are two different types of hardness of water. First one is the temporary hardness and another one is the permanent hardness. Temporary hardness means which can be removed out by boiling. What happened exactly during boiling? So that temporary hardness means this hardness is removed out. We'll discuss it. But what do you mean by permanent hardness? The hardness which cannot be removed out by boiling. Means temporary hardness can be removed out by boiling. So temporary hardness is the hardness which reactions are take place during boiling and the soluble hardness convert into the insoluble one, and the insoluble hardness salts or the hard salts which can be easily removed out by the filtration. Now which salts are responsible for the temporary hardness? Calcium and magnesium carbonates and bicarbonates are responsible for the temporary hardness, whereas permanent hardness is that hardness which cannot be removed out by boiling. Means specific reactions or the specific treatments we have to require to remove out permanent hardness. Now the salts responsible for permanent hardness are nothing but the calcium and magnesiums, chlorides, sulfates and nitrates. Now what do you mean by temporary hardness? As we know that temporary hardness is nothing but the hardness which can be removed out easily by boiling. But exactly what happened during boiling? Temporary hardness is generally due to the bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium. These bicarbonates of calcium and magnesiums are decomposed after boiling. Means it convert into the carbonates and carbon dioxide. For example, suppose we are having calcium bicarbonate means CaHCO3 by 2. During boiling, this CaHCO3 by 2 convert into CaCO3. This CaCO3 is insoluble in water, whereas calcium bicarbonate is soluble in water. Means can we say that soluble convert into the insoluble? Then the another example is MgHCO3 by 2 means magnesium bicarbonate. During boiling or after boiling, magnesium bicarbonate convert into MgOH by 2. This is also insoluble in water. Means temporary hardness is due to the calcium and magnesium bicarbonates, along with that carbonates are also responsible for the temporary hardness, but carbonates are insoluble which can be easily removable by filtration. So it is also known as carbonate hardness. Means temporary hardness is also known as carbonate hardness. Why? Because bicarbonates of water are original form of carbonates of calcium and magnesium. Means calcium bicarbonates and carbonates are responsible for the temporary hardness. So it is also known as alkaline hardness. Means temporary hardness is known as carbonate hardness as well as the alkaline hardness. Now permanent hardness. Permanent hardness is due to the presence of chlorides, sulfates and nitrates of calcium and magnesium. This is not removed out by boiling, and so the certain specific reactions or the process or the treatments we need to pass to remove out the permanent hardness. This hardness is also known as non-carbonate hardness, and it is also known as non-alkaline hardness. Now, which are the different units of hardness? The hardness of water is expressed on common scale, that is CaCO3 equivalent is due to its molecular weight 100. Now suppose we are having calcium bicarbonate, means CaHCO3 by 2. When it react with sodium soap, means sodium stearate, that is C17H35COONA, this Na get replaced by Ca, so we will get calcium soap, means calcium stearate. At the same time, suppose we are having calcium carbonate. Same reaction is take place. Calcium carbonate react with sodium stearate and it gives you calcium soap. But only the difference is that its molecular weight. Molecular weight of calcium bicarbonate is 162 and the molecular weight of calcium carbonate is 100. Means we can say that the hardness of 162 parts of calcium bicarbonate react with same amount of solution as 100 part of CaCO3. Means if we are taking one equivalent or the one molecule of calcium bicarbonate, it react with 2 molecule of sodium stearate, which is giving you 1 molecule of calcium stearate, and at the same time 1 molecule of calcium carbonate require 2 molecules of sodium stearate, and it is again gives you 1 molecule of calcium soap or the calcium stearate. But then why we have to consider the CaCO3 equivalent? As we know the molecular weight 100 is very easy for remembrance. Along with that, CaHCO3 by 2 is soluble in water and CaCO3 is insoluble in water, and due to that we need to express the hardness in CaCO3 equivalent. Now there are certain common units of hardness. The first unit is parts per million. 1 part million is unit weight of solute per million unit weight of solution. 1 ppm is equal to 1 mg per liter. Now, how we can calculate CaCO3 equivalent? For that purpose, we must know the equivalent weight of substance or the molecular weight of substance, means that hardness causing salts. Along with that, in the numerical, weight of substance is also given. So what is the formula for calculating CaCO3 equivalent for hardness causing salts? It's weight of substance causing hardness divided by equivalent weight of substance causing hardness into 50. That 50 is nothing but the equivalent weight of CaCO3. Then another formula is also here, that is the equivalent of CaCO3 for hardness causing substance is equal to weight of substance causing hardness divided by molecular weight of substance causing hardness into 100. Now here 100 is the molecular weight of CaCO3. Now here I took certain examples how we can calculate the CaCO3 equivalent. For example, if the water sample on analysis give the following constituent analysis, that is nothing but the MgHCO3 by 2, means magnesium bicarbonate is having 73 mg per liter hardness, CaSO4 is having 68 mg per liter hardness. So how we can calculate CaCO3 equivalent? Now what is the formula to calculate CaCO3 equivalent? That is the weight of substance causing hardness divided by molecular weight of substance causing hardness into 100. So we must know the molecular weight of substance causing hardness. Here weight of substance is given, that is magnesium bicarbonate is 73 mg per liter. So what we have to do, weight of substance is given, that is 73. Now what is the molecular weight of magnesium bicarbonate? That is 146. So we need to put that 146 here into 100. We will get 50 ppm. Then CaCO3 equivalent for CaSO4, it is given that 68 is the weight of substance divided by molecular weight of CaSO4 is 136 into 100 we will get 50, means again we will get 50 ppm. Now the another unit is milligram per liter, that is nothing but the mg per liter. It is the number of mg of CaCO3 present in 10 raised to the power 3 part of water. Now what is the relationship between ppm and mg per liter? 1 ppm is equal to 1 mg per liter. Another unit is also there, that is the equivalents per million. Next unit which can be utilized for calculating hardness, that is the degree Clark. Another unit is degree French, and the next unit is grains per empirical gallon. But generally we are taking mg per liter or the ppm, means the parts per million. Now estimation of hardness. How we can estimate hardness? There are two different methods to estimate hardness. First one is the soap solution method and another one is the EDTA method. EDTA method is also known as complexometric titration. Now the first is the soap solution method. In this case what happened? We need to add soap solution into the hard water. Now as we know that hard water contain calcium and magnesium ions. So soap is nothing but the sodium stearate. When we add that soap solution into the hard water, that calcium and magnesium ions react with the sodium stearate and the formation of calcium and magnesium soap is take place. And as the calcium and magnesium soap is take place, it will not giving you lather. It will gives you the flock formation or the scum formation. This scum is nothing but the grayish color PPT, and due to that we will take some time, or it will take some time for the formation of lather or the foam. In this burette, soap solution is added. In this particular conical flask, the water is taken. When we are going to add soap solution drop by drop into the hard water, if that is the soft water, immediately we will get lather. But if that is the hard water, that calcium and magnesium salts which are present into the water, it will react with soap and the formation of calcium soap and the magnesium soap is take place. And then after formation of all this scum, means calcium and magnesium soap formation, then sodium soap will react with the water and foam formation is take place. Means along with scum, foam formation is take place. Means it take time for the lather formation. In this way also we can estimate the hardness. Now the another type of hardness estimation is the EDTA method. Now what do you mean by EDTA? Ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid. This is the full form of EDTA. This one is the structure of EDTA. Ethylene, diamine, tetra means 4, acetic acid. Now in this case what happened? This EDTA react with calcium and magnesium ions which are present into the water or the hard water, and the formation of complexes take place. This one is the calcium EDTA complex. Instead of this calcium we can just put here magnesium, so we will get magnesium EDTA complex. So this is the structure of metal EDTA complex. Now what is the exact process or the procedure of EDTA method? This particular reaction is in your syllabus. Of practical means you have to perform one experiment based on this complexometric titration. Now what is the principle of EDTA method? The quick, complete and 1:1 interaction of metal ion with EDTA leading to the formation of stable complex is basis of complexometric titration. Means what we have to do exactly? We need to form the stable complex from the EDTA and metal, and that is the complexometric titration. Now what do you mean by complexometric titration? This is nothing but the complex formation is take place at the end point. Now question arises, what do you mean by complex? Complex means nothing but it is the metal ion is react with the different ligands, and here EDTA is the ligand, whereas metal ion is nothing but the calcium or magnesium, which one is present in the hard water. Now metal means the calcium and magnesium which is present into the hard water. Which reaction is take place here? We need to use indicator. Indicator which one is used here? That is the EBT. The full form of EBT is Eriochrome black tea, which having blue color. It is the blue color azo dye. But when we are adding this EBT into the metal or into the water solution which contains this metal ion hardness causing salt, it is giving you metal EBT, and this is unstable complex which having wine red color. We are adding blue color EBT into the colorless water, we will get wine red color solution. This wine red color solution react with EDTA and we will get metal EDTA complex. This complex is colorless. This is stable colorless complex, but along with that blue color EBT is set free. So what will happen? Which color changes is occurs here in this particular titration? Wine red to blue is the color change which one is occurs here. In the burette we have to take EDTA solution. First we have to take hard water. In that water we need to add EBT. We will get wine red color, but in this particular all these reactions we need to maintain the pH, that is alkaline pH in between 8 to 10, and for that purpose we need to add buffer solution. Then this wine red color solution we need to titrate with EDTA, so we will get blue color. These are the two changes, color changes are given here. Wine red change to blue, and that is nothing but the EDTA method. Then which are the disadvantages of hard water? Obviously hardness is having disadvantage for domestic as well as the industrial use. Now for domestic use, first we can say that for washing it consume more soap, as hardness causing salts react with water first, react with soap solution first, and due to that calcium stearate and the magnesium stearate or the scum is take place, and due to that it take more time for lather formation. So can we say that it consume more soap? Then next one, for bathing it decreases the cleaning property of soap. Then third one is the cooking, as the different hardness causing salts are present into the water, boiling point of water increases, and if the boiling point of water increases, wastage of fuel will be there. Then for drinking purpose it affect the digestive system, means for domestic use it is also dangerous. Now for industrial use, which are the disadvantages of hard water in the industry? First we can take the example of textile industry. Textile industries means where the yarn and the fabric formation is take place, or we have to make the cloths. Then in this case we need to use the soap for washing of that yarn and the fabrics. In that case what will happen? If the hardness causing salts, means the hard water if we are using, then that affect the dyeing property of fabrics. Means if we want particular color, it will gives you the different color. Sugar industry, everybody like the white crystalline sugar, but if we are using hard water, in that case calcium and magnesium salts are present, which causes problem for the crystallization of sugar. Next, for the dyeing industry, just before we discuss about the EBT is the blue color azo dye, but after addition of that EBT into the water, if the hardness causing hard water, then we will get wine red color, means whatever shade we required we will get a different shade, so it is undesirable. Then paper industry, obviously everybody think that the paper should be smooth and the glassy paper will be there, but the resins of which one is used there for that purpose, it react with the hard water, means the hardness causing salts, and it affect the smoothness and the glazziness of the water. So in paper industry it's also hardness is having disadvantages. Then for steam generation, in most of the industries and the powerhouses, water is used for steam generation. If hard water is fed in boiler, it may causes so many problems in boiler, like scale and sludge formation, priming and foaming, then the caustic embrittlement, and that's why we have to avoid hard water for the industries also.